Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Tell NTV's weekly talk show, Talking Point. I'm your host, Syed Neaz Ahmad. In our studios today, we have a young parliamentarian from Bangladesh, Nahim Razzaq. He is here in London, passing through, and we thought it would be a golden opportunity to get him to our studios to talk about a few things. He is on the Parliamentary Committee for Sports and Youth, and we wish to talk about those two issues, those two areas, but obviously, being in the Parliament, he will be a useful person to talk about politics. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you so much.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for wading through the Black Friday traffic of London today.
Well, it was pretty difficult for me to get
It was Black Friday.
It was a Black Friday. Yes, it was.
What brings you to London?
I'm just passing by. I just went to Canada. I attended IPU, Inter-Parliamentary Union's Youth Conference.
What does that do?
Well, Inter-Parliamentary Union Youth Conference mainly takes into consideration about 167 countries represented by youth members of Parliament.
Right.
The main concept out there is just to collaborate and bring out new ideas, innovation in terms of how we can promote democracy, how we can contribute by coordinating and collaborating between each other, and how we can actually have a prosperous world itself, I guess.
Well,
that's the main
That's
concept.
a very interesting aspect. I'll go to that later, see, the promoting democracy, see. That's something which is very close to my heart. You studied business and marketing, isn't it?
Yes, I did start my studies
at Middlesex University in London and later at Kingston.
And then my master's in Kingston University.
Yes. There were some events personally related to you that changed the course of your life, and you ended up in politics, you see. So Mr. Nahim Razzaq, who wanted to become a marketing personality, is now marketing himself, marketing politics in Bangladesh Parliament. Right. How do you find politics?
Well, I've always had a nag in politics. I guess my father being one of the leading politicians and of his generation, I guess.
Yes.
Politics is in my blood anyway. And I've always had an interest in it. I've always been involved with a lot of social activities and as such.
Yep.
But I was very privileged that my father allowed me to pursue what I wanted to do and what I had a knack for, I guess.
Right.
So as such, I kind of pursued my education in marketing and business.
Yep.
And then obviously later on, my post-graduation I did in marketing, and I was even working in the UK for about a year and a half.
Right.
And the turning point as such, it is every person has a kind of turning point in their life, I guess. 21st August 2004, I think that was a turning point for me. We are all aware of the fact that the assassination attempt at the present Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina and the senior leaders of Awami League in front of 23 Bangabandhu Avenue at the party's office, the whole bombing experience was has affected all of us as a family member.
Okay.
So
I would like you to tell us something about your education, because I see that you have been to different places. You've been to Darjeeling, you've been to Ajmer, and then you finally came to the United Kingdom.
Well, it is kind of a...
Ajmer is always, to me, Ajmer, I've been there, it's always a spiritual center rather than of education.
No, it is funny enough you mention it, because see, being in a political family, not everyone actually understands how difficult the life is.
Right.
Obviously, my father had to go through a lot of trouble in his political career. So he thought that it would be better for me to actually be away. I did study in a very, very good school in Bangladesh, Government Laboratory High School.
Lab School, yes.
Yeah, and then later on, I went to St. Paul's, Darjeeling, which is a very prestigious school itself. It's a boarding school. And I did my 10th grade, yes, 10th grade from there. And then I moved to Mayo College, Ajmer, which is also a very renowned school in India. So, yeah, I mean, it's a shift from the mountains, the cold, to the desert and the hot.
To Rajasthan.
to Rajasthan. And fortunately enough, obviously my family, they live in my maternal family. They live in London. So my father thought that it would be better that I actually get my education in London. But then again, I was a studious boy, but then again I was more into sports. So initially I got my offer into 1 year post scholarship, I guess, in Middlesex University, and that's the first offer that we accepted, and that's how I landed up in London, I guess.
Great. You enjoyed your time at Middlesex?
Absolutely, yes.
Right.
Absolutely.
You were there for about 4 years?
I studied there 3 years. I did a sandwich course, and I reduced a 4-year course to a 3-year.
Right.
And then immediately after that, I got into Middlesex University, which was very renowned for marketing. So I was lucky enough to get into Middlesex University for my post-graduation.
Do you use your marketing knowledge or technique that you have learned in politics?
Absolutely. Life is all about marketing ourselves, I guess. So it helps being from that field itself and having a knack in it and having an interest in it. It does help to market ourselves and the market not only ourselves but also market our area, our constituencies as well, because you need to promote your constituencies because as such you're responsible for the 500,000 population that you have in your constituency. So this definitely helps, and along with the constituencies, I work in a very different areas, which is very interesting and very kind of for the future of Bangladesh. It plays a bigger role, which is the youth. So I do try to apply my knowledge that I have received in my education and even in my career as a professional marketing person into nowadays what I do, which is politics and promoting people.
Right. Bangladesh is a young nation, and alhamdulillah, the sizable population of the country is young persons, you see. You definitely get in touch with them. You come across a number of people. And you have mentioned somewhere that youth should be integrated into mainstream politics. I understand that they already are, I mean, and probably more than what they should be.
Well, Bangladesh has had a huge and long culture of student politics being involved in the mainstream policy making. But as of lately, we have seen the youth being not interested in politics because of a lot of cultural gap, a lot of gap between what they want to see and what the politics at present is. So what we, as in me, along with a few members of parliament as well as a lot of activists, what we started doing is in 2014, under the leadership, obviously I have to mention the advisor to the Prime Minister, the Prime Minister's son, Shoji Wadid Joy. Under his leadership, along with Radwan Mujib Siddiq and CRI, Center for Research and Information, we started a program which led to the first national youth platform, which the name has been given Young Bangla. So I fortunately am the convener for that Young Bangla, and that's the platform where we have more or less about 75,000 youth volunteers, over 1,300 youth organizations, just connecting each other.
But you already have Jubo League and Chhatto League, so in every college and
no, it is. You see, the point is that not everyone wants to be into student politics, and not everyone has the opportunity to be in student politics.
Probably that's a very, very honest statement, yes, but probably it is. But as we see from abroad, it seems that everybody is
not really. You see, student politics has always generated good leadership. But at the same time... It
used to, that's what I understand, that's what I've seen.
It used to, I guess, and it still does. I think there are a lot of talented student politicians nowadays. The trend is changing. More kind of academies, people are getting into
colleges
politics.
and schools, they used to throw up good
absolutely
debaters, good thinkers, good analysts, and they would become the leaders of...
Yeah, I remember my father telling me, like, when there was the student elections in Dakshu or Rakshu or whichever university, they used to always hunt for those students who were studious and first, second, third in their classes. So they used to hunt for those people, and they used to get them integrated and be into politics.
Is it the same situation now?
Well, nowadays you do not get student elections in universities, so
Why?
that thing does not exist. And even private
Well, you
universities
should
do
know
not.
because you are looking after the youth affairs.
Well, yes, but private universities, they do not want politics to be integrated into the private university. Public universities have had
because
difficulties.
politics is some sort of disturbance?
Not really. I think it is the perception. I think it's all about perception. And I think the last Dhaka University, the student electoral body, that was, I think it happened in 1991. I think that was the last time, or 1990. So, yes, since then there has not been any electoral student body. But what the present government has done, not that everyone is aware of, is that in schools we have tried to promote leadership by, this is the first time I think this year it's been promoted as such, the class and group wise, I guess. They elect their own representative who talk on their behalf to the school managing committee as to what are the different changes and what are the benefits that they should be catered for. So this is a starting of another step, I think, forward. So this is, we have already, the government has already initiated this already. But what we have tried to do is integrate the brilliant minds who have already taken a lot of initiatives by themselves. You know, I have come across youth organizations with mere resources. They have done so much for the own community.
Yeah, but what sort of job do they do?
See, what they do, they are professionals, or they're doing business, or they're doing anything else or the other. But what they have done, they have catered for different social issues. The social issues such as child marriage, maybe against drugs, maybe to promote sports, maybe to promote for disabled. You know, these are the initiatives that they have picked on, and what they have done, they have organized themselves in getting these sort of initiatives more kind of vocally
but in any
applied in
civilized
their
society,
community itself.
any civilized society, in any democracy, you have government agencies, you have got ministries looking after such problems, you see. And you want to involve the youth into that?
Well, of course, because you see, the government themselves really has limitations in terms of doing their work. It is public and private initiative, individuals and organizations initiatives, corporate sector giving their inputs and contributing towards these sort of initiatives that will together will create an environment where everyone can prosper. It is not one segment only prospering by themselves. It is everyone prospering towards a better life and better environment for ourselves. So I think this is very important, that everyone needs to understand that it is not only the government who will actually initiate this sort of activities or this sort of programs, but it is also the private initiatives. They need to be promoted. So we act from our own self, I guess. It is, we are a non-profit organization. So I guess what we try to do, we try to get these guys connected.
Right.
And we try to find out what are the requirements that they have, and we try to give them those resources. Like Microsoft has come on board with us. Microsoft is obviously a well-known, reputed, huge company, multinational companies. They are giving almost in the region of, they've already trained around 1,000 of young volunteers into digital literacy. So this is something that they want to do. So these are ways of actually connecting different ideas, different resources, and making them available, and connecting these guys who are already doing a lot of things for their community with government initiatives, with private initiatives.
Right. Let's go back to your election to the parliament.
Absolutely, yes.
You have been elected twice, you see, once through the by-election.
Yes.
And the last one was in 2014.
Yes.
From your Shariatpur 3 constituency, and that number is, I think, 223, and Goshair Hart and something.
Yes, I've got 3 Upazila,
yes.
19 unions, and 3 Poroshobas. It's a pretty big
Bedora and all that, right. What happened in the 2014 election? Did you contest against somebody, or did it just a walkover?
Unfortunately, there was nobody to contest with.
Right.
Saying that, there's a lot of controversy, a lot of talk about a lot of things, but I
Right.
want to make it very clear
Right.
with everyone not being biased about something. In a race, when you start a race, you, me, and several others, they're on the line, and when the gun goes off, I start running and you don't start running, so it's not my fault. So it is responsible act by political parties. They should be responsible for it. So yes, there are a lot of controversies that one of the bigger parties, BNP and its allies, did not actually participate. But it was by our Prime Minister and obviously our party leader, Sheikh Hasina, who has tried her level best to actually ensure that they participate. And you must be very much aware, and we can recollect the whole thing. She made a call to the former Prime Minister Begum Zia, telling her to participate, what are the portfolios she would take in, and so forth. So it is a political process.
Right. But you feel happy that, yes.
Absolutely. I think there is no qualm in saying that, yes, we are very confident and we are very much satisfied that the election happened.
You feel happy that you do represent the people.
Absolutely. It is a pleasure.
And if there were an election, you would have got the majority vote.
Well, absolutely. Yes, I'm very much confident.
Right.
And going forward to the next election, definitely very much confident that I've done not enough, but I should be doing more. And going forward, definitely will bring a lot of changes to the constituency.
You're also taking keen interest in the schools in your area, isn't it?
Absolutely, yes.
How many schools do you have?
Well, altogether, right now, we have about 24 schools, high schools, and we have 3 colleges. So, yes, it is something that is very dear to me, and I think getting the privilege of having the education which my parents gave me, I think it's always a challenge and always a responsibility from my end to actually contribute towards quality education. So this is where I really firmly actually have an interest, and I put my foot down in making sure that quality education is provided and that quality students getting their diploma or getting their graduation come out and be a professional. So this is a standard that I want to maintain for myself and for my constituency.
You are thinking about not just teaching or people getting degrees in liberal arts, but also practical professions.
I think practical and more or less what's more important for me is ethical and moral education. These are very, very important for me personally, and I think people, and the textbook unfortunately do not provide as much as it should be. But when we were growing up, we went through the curriculum. There were moral and ethical education, which was very important for a man or a woman or a girl or a boy to actually have those characters that builds their characters. If you do not have strong characters, if you do not have core values, really means just studying and getting good grades is not enough for a good citizen.
We'll come back to these areas, but we need to take a break. So here it is. Thank you for being with us. We'll be shortly taking a break, and then we'll be back again talking to our distinguished guest today. Thank you.